Hi everyone, it's Ninette from Ninette Kruger Metal Art and the Metal Embossing Academy in New Zealand, and it's my great joy and pleasure to introduce to you my latest art collaboration partner, Totaea Rendell, New Zealand artist. And Totaea, it's an absolute pleasure having you on today. Thank you so much for joining me. And would you like to tell us a little bit more about your art and how you started with it, how you got into it?
Well, I'm a graphic designer by trade, so that's how I got into the creative industry. And I also, well, I was a graphic designer slash graphic artist, so I was able to wear both hats, and always had, well, what I'm doing right now with my business is I combine graphic art and graphic design together, and they work quite nicely. They coexist quite nicely, actually. So that's my background. I've been doing that for for quite some time. But I have been out on my own for probably the last 8 years.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah, I started off with a couple of clothing brands. One called Moko, which is Māori inspired. It's very contemporary. And another brand called Power Fritter, which is a Kiwiana brand and very whimsical and quite fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. And they both, well, I guess essentially they're both Kiwiana brands. I like the diversity that the brands offer me. With the Moko brand, I can really tap into the cultural aspect of New Zealand, and then with Power Fritter, it can really sort of take the handbrake off and really come up with some stuff that is just quirky and fun and it makes people think or laugh or whatever, just so they both work. And then just lately, the last 5 years, I've really focused on the artwork, so on the graphic art side of the business, which I really wanted to do in the first place, but I went down the clothing route initially, and that has proven to be, the art side of the business is actually proven to be quite successful too. So I'm happy with everything, really.
Yeah, it's great because I think I first saw your work on the Facebook page Choice, which is featuring all sorts of New Zealand-made products. And there was a lady who interpreted your designs and she used it on some scatter cushions. And they just popped. The designs just stood out. And I thought, wow, this will look incredible in metal. So hence the reason I reached out to you to do this lovely Kia design. So how did you come up with the Kia?
Well, I was about to do an art show with a friend of mine, an artist friend of mine, and our theme was native. So she does a lot of acrylic and oil paintings, and usually of seascapes and landscapes. And I wanted to come in from a different perspective, a very strong, bold graphic design, graphic art perspective. That was quite different from what she was doing, and a theme on birds. So I came up with a series of birds, 4 birds, and Kia was one of them. And and I wanted the Kia especially was a favorite of mine because we just love the Kia. But the pose that I wanted, I chose for the Kia was quite striking, and really the whole thing is quite striking in regards to the wing. The detail on the wing that you've been able to bring out in your artwork. It was just a really, of the 4 birds, that one was my favorite.
Yeah, it immediately caught my eye, and it's actually lying right next to you. I'm just so afraid to pick it up because it's not framed yet. So I'm looking at it, and I must say this was one of the biggest challenges for me. So the entire design took about 17.5 hours from start to finish to emboss by hand. And there's a lot of detail, and trying to raise the different levels correctly was really, it definitely pushed my embossing abilities. But what I loved about the design is it's so strong. It's a strong, striking design. Because initially I was sort of contemplating, shall I keep surrounding metal around it to let the design stand out, and then maybe have some extra pewter on the background to mount it? And then I thought, no, this needs to be cut out, all the details, and just be mounted. I like mounting them on black. It looks really striking for me. So yeah, so we still need to decide what we're going to do with it. But it came out really well. And I just love the details where you've put the kuru on the wing.
Right.
So just really gorgeous.
Yeah, I really wanted to highlight that because initially the whole series was just black and white. And then, as we know, the care is very colorful, especially under the wing.
Yeah.
And so if I wasn't going to add color, I wanted to add detail that showed that there was something quite unique going on under the wing there. And so it's usually quite a vibrant orange. And I don't know how I came up with the koru and the fern, but it worked. You know, just really those shapes really worked quite nicely in that under that wing. No, it's I'm very happy. Like I said before, I'm very happy with how that came out. And what you did to as well. I think that I can see that would not happen very quickly. So you captured that really well.
Oh, thank you. No, I loved it. So did you have any mentors growing up for your art, or is your art mainly self-inspired and self-taught?
With the art side of, I went to Auckland Institute of Technology for the graphic side of what I do, and I was able to develop the art side by myself. And that is pretty much self-taught, but they went hand in hand, like I said. But I've been very creative ever since I was a young person. Yes.
That's lovely. Do you have? Is your family quite creative? Is it something that runs in your blood?
No, I'm the only one.
The only one. Yep.
Exactly.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So my grandma was hugely creative. So she did. I don't know, there must be something similar in New Zealand. It's like a women's club where they do anything from baking to sewing to arts and crafts. And then every now and then they'll have like competitions. So she did so many of these things. She made wedding dresses for a living, did every art and craft form under the sun. But then the rest of my family is not really artistic or creative. So I think I inherited all those genes, which is quite lovely. Yeah, it's fun, eh?
No, very, very good. Very good.
So, so when you're not busy creating art, what else do you enjoy doing?
I'm really getting back into my fitness, actually, just through what we've been going through, all of us here around the world, actually, with this pandemic. Initially, with the first lockdown, I didn't get myself into shape. I actually went the other way. I ate a lot of chocolate, got creative, and put on quite a few kilos.
Yep.
Now with the second, occurrence, I've actually swung things around, and I've got a few designs under my belt, and which I'm happy with, and now I'm getting myself back into shape. So I've got I like doing running events, especially. Half marathons and marathons. So I'm doing the Auckland Marathon in November. Was supposed to do the Auckland half marathon this weekend, but that's been cancelled, unfortunately. I'll be doing the Rotorua half marathon next weekend. So yeah, that keeps me out of trouble off the streets.
Yeah, definitely.
And fit and healthy. So and I've had unfortunately I've had to curb the chocolate intake, but it still happens on a daily basis. So I'm very
just smaller blocks, just one block a day, or try and limit it. Well, that's lovely. Have you found that exercise and getting out to nature, it just makes your art more inspired, or do you feel in a better place creatively when you exercise and you eat well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it does have an influence.
Makes a huge. Well, I swing both ways on this one here. It's like, initially when I went into the first round of lockdown with consuming a fair amount of chocolate and caffeine. Often people ask me, so how do you come up with these designs? I said, well, just lots of chocolate and caffeine.
That's it. A simple recipe.
Yeah, exactly. But now but at the same time, being healthy and being clear-headed, certainly affects you in a positive way, and in regards to your thoughts, and obviously the artwork, a lot of the artwork comes from your thoughts. So yes, it's very important for me to be healthy and in good shape.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. So Anna Molliken, that I've done the previous Skylab with, she actually had I think it was a naturopath on her YouTube channel to discuss all these things and how artists get affected, and sort of what our optimum state of being is. So they were talking about nutrition and meditating and using certain essential oils that have specific properties for creatives and so forth. So that was really interesting. So yeah, but I found for myself as well, just taking a good nature walk, or being out and about at the beach or in a forest or something, it really does fuel my creativity.
Yes.
So
yes.
No, that's cool.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
So let's see. Are there any charities or special causes that are close to your heart?
Yes, well, a breast cancer would be one of the last charities I was involved in. And last year's breast cancer walk, I donated a piece of artwork, which is also a bird. It was a falcon, a New Zealand falcon, Totaea, and to the charity. So I was involved in that because my sister had breast cancer. So I was involved with that. Okay. And that's quite close to my heart because of my sister, obviously. Yeah.
It's always interesting. I like asking the question because, as you know, we're planning an exhibition with all these the metal artworks and the artists that I'm collaborating with, and it's been so interesting finding out what each artist's passion is and where their heart lies for charities, because we'd like to donate a percentage of the sales to each specific charity.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's great.
So I think it's crucial to make a difference where you are, and to just contribute.
Yes, I think that's a fantastic idea, and I think also it's that's a great idea to have an exhibition as well, because I think that from what I've seen so far with your artwork, they're all stunning. You're going to have a very, very solid series of work there.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it basically started during lockdown, having too much time on your hand and finally having time to create a lot of art. So, and I was just so inspired by this Facebook page that features all these New Zealand artists and all the stuff that's made in New Zealand. And I just thought, oh my word, these designs are so gorgeous. The birds, and it's so interesting because I found a lot of New Zealand artists have very strong nature features very strongly in their work.
Yes.
It feels like Kiwis just have this deep, deep connection with their surrounds and nature specifically, because it features a lot in the art. And I thought I'd really like to bring that to life in my art form, which is the pewter and the metal embossing. And it's been such a fun process. I've really enjoyed every moment of it. So cool.
Yes. Yes. No, we do have quite a strong affinity to our wonderful country. We're all very, we love our country very much, and we love the wildlife as well. So very, very fortunate.
Absolutely. Every time we go on a nature excursion, because that's our thing as a family, we love nature, and every weekend we try and visit a new place. And so this past weekend we went through to Bowen Town, and we've been there a couple of times before doing certain walks, and there was one walk that I've been wanting to do which we didn't get to, and this time we did it. And it was sort of a walk up a hill. You don't really know where you're going to end up. And we stumbled upon the most beautiful little beach, just a tiny stretch, maybe 75 meters long. But the water quality, it was crystal clear. It was just the most beautiful color, like these beautiful greens and turquoises, just absolutely stunning.
Yes.
So I always love finding these little surprises when we go on a excursion out in nature, and there's always something else to see.
Yeah, we are so blessed. We really are so blessed, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Sure, up and down the country, absolutely. Yes, no, fantastic.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I'll have to check that place out next time I'm up that way.
You'll have to. It's beautiful. I can highly recommend it.
No, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it was absolutely loving chatting with you. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on or share with the audience?
Not really. I'm just flattered that you've decided to you know, you found me for a start, and you've chosen to collaborate, and we both agreed that the Kia was the bird to be brought to life, and you've done a fantastic job with that. So thank you for that. And it just, you know, yeah, it's just nice to see see the artwork that I create be used in different forms, and by other creative people as well, so like yourself.
Oh, well, the honor is absolutely mine. I was so happy that you agreed to collaborate. It's always, I always hope people will see the possibility of what the work could be in metal. So it was such a pleasure collaborating with you, and such an honor for me. And I'll pop all the links to where people can find you into the YouTube video, and into the links where I share it, so they can go and check out your fabulous work. So
no,
thank you so much. Appreciate it. We'll be in touch again.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Totaea. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. You too.
Thank you.
Okay.